welcome back to Legendary TV, and name is for Legend, emphasis on a legend. And today, we got Miyamoto Musashi exposed to BAKI universe. Another video from CJ.Champ. I think last of his video I reacted to was with General Grievous from the O3 Star Wars show. I ain't finna lie, that was crazy. And like a few months ago, I did saw another one with Shredder from TMNT 2012. And it was even crazier than Grievous because he just did all that for some coochie. Like, that has gotta be desperate, right? Like, it gotta be. Now, okay, so the only reason I'm reacting to this one because I got the news about Tekken, Yujiro, all BAKI characters is joining Tekken. Which, not for the lie, he's more of a different breed than Heihachi or anyone in the Mishima bloodline. And characters in BAKI are crazy, as far as I know of. Like, I haven't seen the anime or read the manga yet, but all I know is just they're like different breeds. But other than that, and Miyamoto Musashi, dude, like, he's like I heard like that he's one of the greatest swordsmen of all time, but let's just see how he's depicted in this one. It might be the same. I don't even know.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today this is gonna be one of them videos where I'ma just keep it a buck with you. What you're about to witness is 30 minutes of pure, unadulterated, nonsensical chaos that is going to make absolutely no sense and have you wondering how the hell is even half of this shit possible. And
like, usually using BAKI as freaking nunchucks. That got me that got me looking like, oh my god, that's crazy work. Like, I'm kind of used to this at this point. This is practically my entertainment now.
My answer to you is, I don't know either. I'm just here to show you the most insane depiction of a real life historical figure that they put in the anime. So, without further ado.
Dude looks weird too, that is cool. Alright, CJ.
Now, as we know in the world of BAKI, there's a lot of absurd shit that happens in this universe that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, the last time I covered a BAKI character, I was talking about a butt booty naked resurrected 7-foot caveman. But I ain't gonna lie, I didn't think it could get crazier than that. I mean, what could possibly top resurrecting a primitive nigga that fought dinosaurs for fun? Well, how about resurrecting the greatest swordsman in human history? They resurrected him? Figured out a way to resurrect Musashi Miyamoto, the most legendary samurai in history. A nigga who went undefeated in duels with a whopping record of
not for the Jesus. Not for the lie. If we actually found a way to bring back someone in real life, I feel like the first person we bring back is Michael Jackson. Like, I don't know why. Like, MJ is most likely the first people to be brought back. It's just a weird hunch. And these are not anime numbers, these are actual real numbers. If you step to this nigga back in the feudal Japan era, there was a 100% chance yo ass was dying. Bro was not the dude to be fucked with. Now, how they resurrected him is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. They went to his grave and dissected his spinal tissue so they could make a clone of him. And when the clone was finally fully grown, they got this crusty ass old lady who could summon spirits of the dead to somehow summon his soul, then smooch the nigga to transfer his soul into the clone's body, bringing him back to life. Now, does that make a lick of sense? No. But guess what? It's BAKI, so who gives a crazy stuff happens in this universe every day. This is normal at this point. Now, when bro woke up and they took him out into the world, he basically had What was that? was Yujiro just kind of watching them, you know, like you're busy? Like, what was happening there? Oh my god.
Captain America waking up out the iceberg moment, but 10 times more brutal, because Cap was just asleep for 70. Musashi's been dead for 400 years. So this dude thought he was on a whole different planet. This nigga was terrified of riding in a car and was in complete shock when he rode an elevator for the first time. He had no clue what the hell was going on because the world just completely changed for him. But one thing that didn't change was that in this era, niggas still love to fight, and Musashi loved to fight. So with that being said, let's start to go through this gauntlet that this man ran, because this dude damn near embarrassed the entire cast. So the first man to get embarrassed by Musashi was Mr. Sabu, and he was known as the best swordsman in modern day Japan. So his first fight was basically the strongest swordsman in history versus the strongest swordsman of today. Sukuna versus Gojo type shit. However, the way Musashi did Mr. Sabu was so absurdly ridiculous. It made all the modern day swordsmen look like a bunch of frauds walking around with butter knives, because Musashi beat this man without even lifting a finger. You see, when
I want to see
he quite literally felt this nigga cut him down and kill him a total of 7 times in his mind. Dude lost the fight before it even started. He knew he was cooked, so he just dead ass gave up. And he straight up admitted that if he actually went through with this fight, he would have basically just thrown his life away for nothing. So after Mr.
Why that reminds me of Shanks? Like the moment like you try to step up to this brother, it feels like you get this deathly feeling. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Because, like, Shanks is something else, at least in the One Piece verse. Which, bro, I was not expecting that from Musashi, but this is BAKI. I don't even know BAKI like that. Well, kinda. But even still.
Sabu gave up. Musashi decided to add more salt to the wound and embarrass this dude to a degree of no recovery. He asked Mr. Sabu if he could see his swords so he could inspect them. So when he gave Musashi his swords and he started to inspect them, he basically told Mr. Sabu, as expected, these swords are utter garbage, my nigga.
Dang.
Nigga. So he ends up swinging his swords, and they both end up breaking because they could not withstand the sheer force of Musashi's swing. And after he broke his swords, he told him, "These cannot be called swords, young one. How do you expect these toys to kill someone when they can't even survive a simple swing?"
Damn! That is wild.
And after bro heard that, his whole life basically just flashed in front of his eyes. Because this was the moment in his life where he just straight up learned that he wasn't built for this shit. So he picked up the scraps of his broken blades and left, having to take a long walk of shame all the way back home. So after Mr. Sabu got his whole life dream and sword shattered, the next character to get embarrassed was none other than the main character himself, BAKI. And I'm gonna be so real, I haven't seen BAKI get embarrassed like this since he fought Yujiro for the first time. Like, this nigga got done dirty. So here's how this went down. BAKI ends up going over to Tokugawa's house to confront this overwhelming aura he's been feeling uneasy about. And the person with that overwhelming aura was Musashi. So when BAKI finally felt this man's aura near him, he threw a Pele kick, but his leg got cut off. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this was a pretty good psych gotcha nigga ass moment, cause he actually didn't get his leg cut off. It was all in his head. Musashi literally pulled up for 1 second, and his presence made him get stuck in a genjutsu. And the wildest part about it is that he still felt the pain of his leg getting cut off. So when BAKI looks up from,
like, that's how, like, not for the lie, that's how it is in a dream though. I ain't for the lie, but. Like, I'm not trying to hate, but the way that this brother looks is unsettling for some reason. Like he look like one of those dudes that just looks at you while you sleep, like a paralysis demon. That's the vibe he kind of gives me. But this is BAKI. Everyone's gonna look unsettling for some reason.
The ground. He sees Musashi standing over him and staring a hole into his soul. And the difference of what they saw when they stared at each other was just insane. When Baki looked at Musashi, he saw a mushroom cloud from a nuke, just pure destruction.
Dude.
But when Musashi looked at Baki, all he saw was free eats. It was Thanksgiving for this nigga. Nigga looked at him like a plate that you get at a family function that your grandma made. Catfish, yams, collard greens, mac and cheese, cornbread. This nigga was free food. So they ended up going outside to run the ones. And this is where Baki just got completely embarrassed. Baki went in for a kick, but Musashi gripped his ankle and lifted him with one hand like he was playing with a toy. Then he started to grip his ankle so hard, his ankle started to shatter while he was holding him up midair. Then he whips him behind his back and says, "Let's find out if he'll break." So he uses Baki's body like he would swing a sword and slams him on the ground, shutting his lights out. This right here might go down as one of the most absurd moments of all time. He grabbed the main...
But that's not as bad as when General Grievous used his feet, grab someone, and like slam his head into the ground and his neck breaks. Like, oh, like I kind of felt that for some reason. Oh my god.
Yes, the main character of the show picked him up like he was a toy and used him as a human sword to see if he could survive his swing. That is generally one of the most mind-boggling, insane things I've seen. So Baki ended up taking a pretty good long nap after
I'm surprised he survived that too.
He woke up, he decided that he wanted to run the ones one more time. Now, I don't know why he thought that was a good idea, but hey, if you've taken as many hits to the head as Baki has in his life, the CTE demons in your head just take over at some point, I guess. So Baki comes out for round 2 and immediately throws a jab at Musashi to catch him off guard. And Baki actually drops Musashi to a knee for a second. He actually had him stunned, but he gets up and just straight up tells Baki, "Yeah, so I saw that jab coming the whole time, and I could have just dodged it, but I decided to eat it." And Baki was just completely flabbergasted at this point. This dude basically just told him to his face that I just saw your fastest attack coming, and I decided to let you hit me so you can get a little morale boost. So to end this fight,
that's some observation hockey right there.
Fighting stance. And in this stance, 2 invisible swords showed up out of nowhere.
Oh no. Cause I just saw that video with Yujiro versus Baki, and I know what happens when there's something invincible, just like pops up. Like it looks invincible, but other people can see it, and you can still feel it. What is this universe?
Now, I don't know where the hell they came from, but my guess is that he just conjured them up out of his aura or some shit. So Baki goes in to attack him, but Musashi grabs his punch and stops him before he could even throw it. Then he uses his invisible mind sword to cut Baki down the middle and make his nervous system spaz out. So with one final attempt, Baki tries to hit Musashi one last time, but he blocks it with his foot and uses his punch as a bounce pad to land onto the roof. So Musashi looks at Baki on the verge of passing out and tells him, "Wow, you did impressive, little nigga. But I feel like indulging in more fun. Farewell, and thank you for the free meal." And when Musashi leaves, Baki just passes out and gets knocked out again. So after Musashi slumped the main character twice in the same day, the next character to get utterly embarrassed was everyone's favorite bald nigga with an eye patch, Doppo Orochi. Now the reason Doppo even knew Musashi was resurrected and back in the first place was because earlier that day, Musashi was on the news for beating up like 4 cops at once, and it was all caught on security cam footage. The first dude tried to get behind him and put him in a rear naked, but this nigga grabbed his nuts and crushed them into smithereens. Look at the way he falls clutching where his testicles once were. This brother just got his manhood taken.
That is a whole generation just wiped off the map. That is crazy. I hope they have like a testicle bank at the hospital. Oh nah. I don't think his wiener survived that for real. The legs It's crazy work too.
In 4K for the whole world to see on national news. Then he walks up to the next cop. The cop tried to swing, but instantly got his baton snatched. And Musashi stares him straight in the face and slices him down the middle with his baton. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. This nigga used a baton as a sword. And look at him on the ground. The nigga's having a seizure. Then the last two tried to jump him, but they both got air sliced and dropped as well. Now this is what Dopo
did
saw
not
in the
even
news.
move.
And being the crazy ass nigga he is, he saw that and he wanted to fight him to see if he was the real deal or not. So when they stood off from one another,
you know what?
Tokugawa asked Dopo to introduce himself to Musashi. So Dopo decides to introduce himself by breaking shit and showing off. He started punching through cinder blocks, slicing glass bottles with his hands, and then kicking a block of wood cleanly in half. And after this, he just floated in the air and tried to ore farm as much as he possibly could before gravity finally took him. Now, after seeing that, any regular person would be impressed. But Musashi looked at him when he was finished and was like, was that supposed to be martial arts or a dance, my nigga? What did you say, nigga? So when Dopo heard him say it was a dance, this pissed him off to the max. Because Musashi just flat out disrespected his craft. So they squared up against each other, and these boys were ready to throw down. So Dopo decides to attack first with a headbutt, but Musashi does one of the most disrespectful things you could ever do to a man. He palmed his head like a basketball. Like, dog.
He better dribble it.
The thing that gets
he better dribble his head.
Is that he really started rubbing his chrome dome like he was polishing a bowling ball. So Dopo bags up and Musashi takes his fighting stance, where he has his air swords drawn out again. So he goes into attack and Dopo parries the first sword. His other sword came down and ended up slicing him. And Dopo is screaming, thinking that he actually got hit. But then Musashi started laughing at him. And when Dopo finally realizes that he actually didn't get hit by a sword, Musashi was just staring at him, fist cocked back and loaded. And he told him, see, I told you, it's just all a dance, my nigga. And rams his fist into Dopo's face. Now,
That's
while
crazy.
He was rocked, Dopo decided to at least save some of his ore. So he stops himself and recovers into a one-handed handstand. Like, I'll give it to bro.
That is
Even though
wild.
he's getting absolutely washed in this fight, Dopo made sure this ass whooping would not result in any type of ore loss. Bro got his bald head rubbed and knew he had to make up some points. So Dopo being Dopo and letting his CTE take over, decided, you know what? I want you to get a real sword so I can fight you at your full strength. So Tokugawa gives Musashi a sword that can actually withstand the power of his sweep. And this ends up leading up to one of the most absurd KOs in anime history. So Musashi kept on talking shit to Dopo, telling him, oh, you ain't no god of martial arts and all you doing is dancing and shit. So Dopo got mad and tried to rush him, but Musashi swung his sword into Dopo's face and slammed him into the ground, knocking him out cold. And he didn't even cut him. This nigga somehow held back.
That was a sharp end.
He did.
How? How? Bro, what? It was like the other end. Okay, sure, but that's the sharp end. The sharpest one. How? How? I'm not trying to be loud because it's just like, Jesus, 2:10 in the morning. But my God, dude.
This nigga somehow held back enough strength while also putting out enough to knock a nigga out cold without the blade even splitting him open. That shit is the most absurd way to knock a nigga out. Like, this isn't even remotely possible. This nigga Dopo should have been looking like Mecha Frieza when he pulled up to Earth. Split into
Literally
right down the middle. And then this nigga wakes up after getting knocked out like, well, damn, looks like he's the real deal. Like, my brother in Christ, you should be talking to God right now.
Right.
Now, the next cast member to get exposed actually did talk to God, and that was Retsu. Now, Retsu wanted to fight Musashi because he was bored with being a boxer due to dominating every person he fought. Also, he was tired of only being able to use his fist. So when this dude heard about Musashi, he immediately vacated his championship and said, I'm going to Japan, my nigga, because he wanted to challenge him to a fight. But not just to a regular fight. Retsu challenged this man to a fight to the death. This
That-
nigga wanted to.
That's a funeral. That is a funeral. That's not even a fight. That's a funeral. Hey, if you wanna get a funeral as soon as you can, as soon as possible, just get some. Ask for the smoke with Musashi, and he got you, fam.
Have Mortal Kombat with Musashi. Now, I don't know why the hell you want to have a fight to the death with a samurai whose record is 60-0 in fights to the death. But hey, we all like a little stupid sometimes. Hell, I went to a Chick-fil-A one time when I was baked and asked for a burger, and I'm not kidding. This was a true story. So this fight was basically like a WWE no holds bars Extreme Rules match. Everything was legal. Swords, nunchucks, tables, ladders, chairs, you name it, you could use it. Except for guns, because that's just flat out cheating. And you know what the crazy thing is? They did this in front of a live crowd. These niggas dead ass got up for their 9 to 5 and
that is a real funeral right there. You already got the people. Now y'all need is a casket and a gravestone. And y'all be good. You don't even need a funeral home. It's right there.
said, hey, you wanna go see a nigga die? Oh, hell yeah, bro. Like, is that not insane to y'all? They treating this shit like the Colosseum back in the Roman Empire. But anyways, the gong goes off and combat begins. So Retsu immediately rips off his jacket, and inside of it, it was loaded with at least 100 kunai in there. So Retsu just starts to PK fire the knives at Musashi. But Musashi started to dodge every single knife. And even started catching them. Then to really just show how much of a different level he was on compared to Retsu, bro decided to cut the last kunai in half. So when Retsu finally ran out of ammo, he decided that his next best move was to use his shirt as a weapon. So this man starts to swing his shirt around, and it was sending a bunch of sand, dust, and teeth into this man's face. But this is the moment where I myself realized that this dude was just built different. He let this shit fly in his face without even closing his eyes. He didn't even blink once. He just stood there and took it. Bro had a whole rock fly into his eye, and he didn't even flinch. He was stone-faced the entire time. And when Retsu's attack was finally over, all he did after it was just shake everything off like nothing happened, and he called Retsu a child for throwing rocks and pebbles at him. So when Retsu was finally done spamming projectiles, Retsu decides to throw his shirt at him, and Musashi ends up cutting it in half. But this was a fake by Retsu, because after Musashi cuts the shirt, he gets clocked in the forehead by a 9-section whip and got dropped. So it seems that Retsu's plan this whole fight was to not let Musashi get close to him at all. He was going to have to zone him the entire fight, because if he let Musashi get close to him with his sword, he was a dead man. So while Retsu was swinging his whip at mock speeds, Musashi decided to mock Retsu again. He puts down his sword and lets Retsu attack him. So Retsu came in swinging, but Musashi dodged all the hits and grabbed both of the whips to make him stop and back without his weapons. Then Musashi looked at the chains and called them toys that can't kill anyone. Then decided to swing both of them like a sword and snap the chains like they were made out of wood. Now this right here was just straight up demoralizing to Retsu, because he trained with that specific weapon since he was a kid, and Musashi literally picked it up for the first time, called them toys, and snapped them in half. Bro just made all of his life work feel meaningless in the matter of seconds. So after Musashi did this, he did one of the cockiest things I've ever seen. He throws his sword at Retsu and says, "Why don't you give it a try? It's simple. All you gotta do is swing." So Retsu, feeling absolutely disrespected by this, decides to just smack Musashi with his sword multiple times. And when he knocked him down again, he told him, "I am a master of martial arts. Don't ever approach me unarmed again." And after Retsu did this to Musashi, this is when Musashi just became an absolute dickhead, because he just started to troll him for the rest of the fight. This nigga deadass threw his sword away, walked up to Retsu and told him, "I've approached you with no weapon, Mr. Martial Artist. Ooh, what shall you do? So Retsu throws a punch at him, and Musashi catches it. But Retsu pulled out a Bianca Belair move and used his hair as a whip to smack Musashi in the face. Then he kicked him as hard as he physically could to rattle his brain and drop Musashi to his knees. Now, when it looked like Retsu was coming to finish him off, Musashi grabbed his peg leg, and this is where Retsu fell into the trap. The same one Baki fell into. Musashi picked him up. This 200-pound plus nigga by the leg with one arm, swung his body back all the way and swung him again like a sword, smashing his face into the ground. Now, the most insane thing about this is that Retsu's body recovered and stood up, but he was still out cold. So Musashi had to walk up to him and grab his fist to throw him on the ground to wake him up. And right here is when you can see that Retsu was cut out of it. This nigga had no clue where he was at for a second. He was clearly concussed. And Musashi was just standing over him like, get up, little nigga. This doesn't end till one of us are dead. So when Retsu's brain finally started to function again, he gets up and starts to attack him. But now he couldn't even land a hit because Musashi started to block every single one of his strikes. So since Retsu was basically downloaded at this point, he had to try some new shit and pull something out of his bag. So he decides to take Baki's fighting stance to see if he could mix him up a little bit. But I don't think Bro understood that this was not the move. Because Baki himself got knocked out. Not once, but twice. What the fuck did Bro think that this was gonna accomplish? So Musashi leaps at Retsu with a random sword he picked up and rams the blade right into Retsu's face. Now this is another moment where a character should be dead. Retsu's face should be split in two right now, but this nigga still has the ability to talk right now because he didn't come all the way through. So Musashi tries to finish the strike, but Retsu hits a counter and bicycle kicks Musashi in the face, laying him out on the ground. So Retsu looks like Retsu did mad damage to Musashi right here. He looked absolutely stunned and was coughing up blood. So Retsu tries to finish him off with the Bruce Lee into the dragon.
You already know for a fact.
All of this was a ruse. Musashi was playing possum the entire time. He caught Retsu mid-air and wrapped the cord that was on his clothes around his neck. Then he continued to wrap up Retsu's entire body until he was wrapped up like a present. This was pure humiliation at its finest. And look at Retsu. He is about to start bawling his eyes out because he knows he's cooked. It's over. The whole crowd knew as well.
Again, it's a funeral, fam. Why fight to the death? That's so... It's not even a fight to the death. Again, this is a funeral.
They was like, please, Musashi, have mercy, please don't kill that nigga. But it was too late. Musashi picked up his blade, cut the cord loose and said, turn around, nigga. And when Retsu turned around, Musashi's blade came right down the middle. So Retsu tried to counter it like last time, but he ends up getting his peg leg cut off. And when he ended up bagging up, you knew it was over because he had a big ass line going straight down his body. Then like 2 seconds later, the wound opens and Retsu's body just explodes in blood. Now this cut actually didn't kill him because it was too shallow. And also, apparently, Retsu learned some technique that can make him survive a cut of a sword. I don't know, some straight up bullshit that the narrator's trying to gaslight me into believing in. But I guess it worked. So since Retsu is somehow still alive, he decides to prep one final move. He got down into the same feral stance that Pickle uses. So Retsu leaps at him and throws a punch. And Musashi cuts right into Retsu's fist. But Retsu planned this so Musashi's sword could get stuck in his fist. So Retsu yelled at this man and said, I got you. But Musashi looked at him with the classic, haha, you fool. He flash stepped towards Retsu, hit him up and hit him with an attitude adjustment. Then while he was mid-air, he hit Retsu with a clean strike to the back and cut him clean straight through his body. His organs were slashed clean through and his spine was severed. And after he landed that fatal strike, Musashi turned around and said, you've done well, and leaves. This time, it was really over. That bullshit ass technique could only bail him out once. Because once they started showing Retsu's backstory, you knew damn well it was a wrap. So bro fell to the ground, holding his stomach and coughing up blood, and thought to himself in his last moments,
damn, at least I tried. My only regret in life was not using code CJ for 10% off on gamer subs. If I trucked some of that good shit before this fight, then maybe I wouldn't be getting isekai right now. I'll make sure to use code CJ at the next
cooked either way, fam.
Fatality.
Damn it, my boy lied.
Not gonna lie, I was actually pretty shocked they actually decided to kill off a major side character like Retsu. And then I became even more shocked to figure out that this nigga got isekai'd into a spin-off manga. So I guess we gotta give Musashi an honorary truck-kun badge or something, cause he technically moved a nigga so bad, he got sent to another world. So after Musashi isekai'd Retsu, the next dude to get cooked was this random NPC Kendo champion. Now, after the fight with Retsu, Musashi technically did end up getting arrested for killing him, even though they couldn't hold him with handcuffs and they had to call the entire SWAT team just so—
What is that gonna do? He's gonna wipe out all of them. Like increase his body counts.
They could bring him in for questioning, but the police decided not to charge Musashi. They actually wanted to make a deal with him. And the deal was to fight Japan's Kendo champion, who was this random NPC right here. And this fight lasted a whopping 10 seconds. I'm not even kidding. Musashi just casually walked up to dude, raised his kendo stick, and smacked him on top of the head, one-shotting him.
Damn!
Every single person in the room just had their jaws dropped because they couldn't believe what they just witnessed.
A baseball bat to the dome.
The Kendo champion of Japan got washed in 10 seconds flat. They was all looking at this nigga after he got knocked out like,
big dog, you supposed to be our #1. And you're playing like a bum. I bet you better start doing your job.
So after the Kendo champion got one-shotted, the next nigga to get exposed was Mr. Shibukawa. Now, Shibukawa wanted to fight Musashi because he straight up tried to spin back for Retsu. This nigga walked up to Musashi after he knocked out the Kendo champ and said he wanted to shake hands with him. So they shook hands. But this was a trap that Shibukawa laid out. He gripped his hand while using Aikido and it made Musashi fall to the ground. Then Shibukawa looked at him dead in the face and said,
"This is for Retsu, nigga,"
and smashes his face into the ground. Now this was obviously a cheap shot, but Shibukawa did not care. Bro looked at Musashi when he got up and basically told him,
pull up in front of the motherfucking precinct and let's bang out. Right down the block, you know where it's at. You studied my whole neighborhood. Or pull up in front of the Kmart and let's bang out and let's do it on camera. I throw my life away, you throw your life away right now. I hate you, nigga, let's die.
So after Shibukawa was done talking this shit and was ready to throw his life away, Musashi just smiled at him and was like, all right, bet. So Musashi speed blitzed bro in 2.5 seconds and cut him down with his air sword. Musashi was so fast, Shibukawa couldn't even react. Bro just had to stand there and take all the pain before he spazzed out. And then when Shibukawa woke up to shake hands with Musashi after the fight, Musashi just decided to mark him one last time. So he gripped his hand as hard as Shibukawa did earlier and mind cut this nigga all over his body after telling him GG's. Now that was everyone that Musashi just straight up exposed. However, there was one more character he had an interaction with, and all of y'all should know him very well. It was none other than the most disrespectful man in anime history. Yujiro motherfucking Hanma, nigga. And Yujiro. Boy, I tell you. I'm surprised the world cataclysmic event didn't happen when these two fought. Because we all know how overpowered Yujiro is in this universe. And we just witnessed how overpowered Musashi is. So the fact that the top two niggas in this verse decided to square off is generally terrifying. I'm surprised they didn't send the government to stop these niggas. But when I really think about it, what the hell are they gonna do? I mean, hell, Yujiro literally made America his bitch. Now, this is how this confrontation went down.
Crazy.
Yujiro wanted to fight Musashi because Motobe straight up said, I don't believe that you can beat Musashi, and I will be the person to protect everyone. So Yujiro took offense to this, because even though Yujiro's not a swordsman like Motobe, Yujiro is still known as the strongest creature on Earth. So he went to Tokugawa's house to confront Musashi. Now, the way they got to start fighting was just hilarious. Musashi wanted to see if Yujiro was like that or not. So he tried to air slice him while Yujiro was just drinking some sake. But this nigga did not even react. Yujiro just straight up looked at him like, nigga, did you really think that bullshit was gonna work on me? Fuck wrong with you? Eat a dick, nigga. So this man cuts the bottle cap with his finger, and the glass lands on Musashi's forehead, and he starts bleeding. Then Yujiro looked at Tokugawa and told him, hey, bald nigga, fetch that nigga sword now. Fuck the foreplay. We fighting right here, right now. So they wasted little to no time. They went outside and they were ready to throw down. So Yujiro decides to make the first move. He grabs Musashi's sword with his hand and tells him, think fast, Choco Nuts. So he slaps the shit out of this nigga and sends him flying. And this motherfucker is still hanging onto the sword. Like, look at this nonchalant bullshit. He farmed aura mid-attack and just off of the first hit, he had Musashi looking cross-eyed. So after he got hit with that face palm of doom, this is when Musashi decided to lock in, because he finally had a worthy challenger. So Musashi decides to go on the attack. So he tries to slice him down the middle, but he ended up cutting his leg. Then he tried to slash him again, but Yujiro hits a nasty dodge. Dude jumps like 10 feet in the air and floated there for 5 seconds. And while all this was going on, Tokugawa was watching this, and this nigga looked like he was dead ass about to nut. Bro was on the sidelines like, oh, I can't contain myself, I'm about to Like, I get it, bro. We're watching legends fight right now. But like, damn, bro, pop it out. So after Tokugawa was done glazing, Musashi swung at one of Yujiro's vital points. But Yujiro somehow saw this attack coming. So he dodged to make him miss his vitals, then grabbed Musashi by the wrist and gave him a receipt for that officer that got his balls crushed. Yujiro kicks Musashi in the nuts. Look at the pain this man is in. This kick to the balls by Yujiro was apparently the most pain Musashi's ever felt in his life. He said this felt worse than getting shot by an arrow or slashed by a sword. So after Musashi got hit by this, he got up and decided that Yujiro was a worthy opponent to try his secret technique on that nobody's ever seen. So Musashi gives up his swords and decides to fight barehanded. So he starts swinging on Yujiro with his bare hands and starts cutting him. Apparently, this is supposed to be the final form of his air sword attacks. And now this nigga doesn't even need swords because he is now the sword. So when Musashi ends up going in for another attack, Motobe just comes out of nowhere and eats every single hit that Musashi would have landed on Yujiro. Now, obviously, since Motobe did this ended up pissing Yujiro off because he interrupted his fight. I mean, the dude
Why would you get in the way, dude?
Motobe's unconscious body and just straight up bitch slapped him. It got to the point that Musashi had to stop Yujiro himself because Yujiro was about to kill bro. But after this, we end up learning that Motobe actually took one for the team. Because apparently, if those attacks kept on landing, Yujiro would have died.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, this technique would have actually beaten Yujiro. Not gonna lie, when I first heard it, I couldn't believe it myself. Because apparently the nigga is stronger with his bare hands than his actual sword. Now, I don't know how the hell that makes any sense, but it's BAKI, so I'm not asking questions. I'm just here for the nonsensical chaos.
Exactly, fam.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is quite possibly one of the craziest videos I've ever done. And apparently part 2 is coming out later this year. And I'm hearing people say that he's supposed to be going on a rampage. So let me know if you want to see that. And hell, I'll probably give a round table verdict at the end of it. So with that being said, hope y'all enjoy. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me let y'all know this right now. The day I'm finishing this up right now, I just saw Mark get literally dug in. So I might give y'all a little mini Invincible video next week. But anyways, I'm out.
That is insane. Cannot wait till part 2 drops at this point. Bruh. my real exposure to BAKI. And it's already crazy. And I think that's like the recent arc. I think. It wasn't like nothing freaky either. But yeah, that was Musashi. Jesus. Okay. But other than that, real legend. Signing off. Good day.